leaning, leaning. I'm not singing the rest of the song. On this week's episode of yeah, this episode of Horror Hole, I'm Wyatt, and who is here with me today as always?
I'm Cody Briscoe, and Wyatt, this was the most fucked up Andy Griffith Show episode I've ever seen.
We're here to talk about a 1950s classic, Night of the Hunter, a movie that I watched in film school, which I think I talked about last episode.
Yeah.
Or not film school, film class. I didn't go to film school. Well, I watched it in film class in senior year of high school. And it really stuck with me, and I wanted to give it a rewatch because it's kind of like a proto slasher style movie. Even older than Psycho, even it's definitely more of a thriller kind of thing than it is like a horror movie, which is kind of maybe miscalculated on my part.
We do a lot of those.
It has a guy. That's true. Yeah, it's a guy. He goes to a town. He's scary. He kills multiple people. Etc. So there you go.
I had never seen this movie, but I had seen clips of it in that documentary series I'd mentioned in a previous episode, the 100 Scariest Movie Moments. It's the scene where they're in the basement and John knocks the jars down onto him, and he like kind of leaps up after them with his hands out when they're running up the stairs. But I knew who Charles Laughton was, and I knew the story of this movie, which we'll get into. But what this movie reminded me of is another movie from around the same time that I had seen called Cape Fear.
Yes, and it has Robert Mitchum in it as well.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. It almost feels like he's playing the same character a little bit.
Right. It might have been because of this film, like him being typecast. Yeah. So, but yeah, this film, like, it's kind of famous for being like kind of a failure at the time, like contemporarily, like people did not like this movie, or it wasn't like very successful. And I think like Lawton, I think this is the only movie, right? Like
the Hollywood system did not allow him to direct a movie after this.
Yeah, which is like pretty that's like fucking crazy.
Because his direction is the best part of this movie.
Oh, absolutely. Like overall, I do, I think that it is like a classic movie. It's in a lot of ways. And like you said, the direction is great. I don't think that it's like the absolute cream of the crop of what we've watched.
No, I have a couple
it's not quite as good as it's not quite as good as like those real stone cold classics like Casablanca or Citizen Kane, like those kind of movies that you watch and you're like, okay, I get why these movies are so like well regarded. Or even something like Wizard of Oz, but even that, like, I know had some like weird mixed reception or whatever at the time because of fucking book nerds being like, this isn't accurate to the original.
How could it have been accurate? It was the 30s.
Well, that's the thing that's crazy to think about, is that like the book series was 40 years old. Like the original Wizard of Oz was 40 years old. Like it was very old. It was released in, maybe not very old, it was released in 1900. So it was like pretty old. It would be like if there was like a book, like a famous book in like the 80s, and then they made a movie of it now. Like that much time. That much of a time span. So like there was like enough so that people were like really into the whole series of Oz, and then just got like really picky about adaptational differences. So it's like, man, even back in the fucking World War II era,
fan entitlement
were, but yeah, so like, but I do think that it is a great movie, and we will, I think it's absolutely deserving of, this guy going on to make more after this. Like, it's kind of crazy that, he was just like not really allowed to.
I mean, back in the day, like, because I mean, the Hollywood system was far more is insular the right word? Where like
Yeah.
everybody knew
Mm-hmm.
everybody, all the studios were kind of like they were competing, but they all kind of knew each other. Um,
Right.
but yeah, this is a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I had kind of a weird watching experience because I watched like the first half hour last night and then I fell not because the movie was boring, but I was just tired.
Mm-hmm.
I fell asleep. And then I
Yeah.
watched
Yeah.
it the rest of it over the course of like 3 hours while at work today in between checking people in.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in fits and starts. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Um.
I was on like the edge of my seat for a lot of it because I think the
Mm-hmm.
characters are all really well set up, and I mean the two kids, you really root for them, and like that's for me that's like the horror of the movie is you are very afraid for these kids that are in peril, and I think I read like that was the aspect of it that shocked audiences so much like back in the 50s was that it's
Oh,
these
absolutely.
yeah
Yeah. At that time, like movies were so fucking sanitized
yeah
because the Hays Code,
hmm
where it's like I don't know. It's very weird. Like this era is just very interesting watching movies because like because of the Hollywood system and things like the Hays Code and everything that like it really wasn't until like post World War II into the 50s that films started to get like their teeth again after kind of being like defanged for a
hmm
while, and they started to go into like these more dark subject matters. Now obviously watching this movie now, it does seem very tame because just the standards of what we can expect to see.
hmm
They didn't even show like the owl killing a bunny, which obviously that would have been animal cruelty, but that's just like a little thing of like, oh, let's just portray this off screen. Let's portray like, these people, and it works like artistically in like to set the mood and the atmosphere, but
hmm
you can see that they like work around their limitations as far as like what kind of violence can we show and everything.
yeah because like even
And
I would say that's
mm,
like it's understandable, but like when for example when Willa is killed, and we'll get into that character, like I didn't even know that she had died because like he's on top of
mm,
her and you see him pull out his knife, but then it just kind of fades to black and there's no scream and it seems like the kids like sleep through the night. So I was confused for like a couple minutes.
yeah, until you see her body
Yeah.
like in the car. Yeah. Um, yeah, like that's an example that I thought of when I watched it, where I'm like, oh yeah, if it was a later movie, there would have been like the blood curdling scream, etc. Um, and I think that's like one thing that's very interesting about this movie, as far as like portraying the children being like these weird kind of traumatized children that are just sort of getting along despite all of the fucked up things that are happening in their life.
Mhm.
Um, and like, yeah, like I was just shocked to see how, like I know the villain is evil, but like how vindictive and cruel he would be to
Mhm.
like these children, especially when it's at the point where the mom is out of the picture.
Yeah.
And like you really feel for them. Like yeah, you feel like really scared
I
for
think
them. There's one. Mm-hmm.
I mean I think that's kind of like the theme of the movie, which I have well I have three themes that I kind of picked up on. Uh,
Yeah,
and one of the theme is like that old phrase like it takes a village to raise a child, where there are
yeah,
so many people in these two kids' lives that they are kind of enabling this guy to slither into their life and ruin it
mm-hmm.
because like nobody suspects him. They believe him because he's an adult. They do go to
Yeah,
people for help and they aren't believed. Like they go to the um, they what is it spoons?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
hate I
The
hate that couple. We'll get to them. Uh,
right, yeah,
or Uncle Bertie, he tells John like, you can come to me if you ever need help. And the one time John does, he's passed out drunk, which is
yeah,
also kind of no fault of his own. He's like traumatized because he discovered their parents'
yeah,
corpses. But just
mm-hmm.
or like religion is also a big theme in the movie, and I think
Yeah,
I don't think Charles Lawton likes religion. It's the impression I get because
yeah. Or doesn't like. There's a very specific type of like American Christian
Yeah.
Sort of like attitude and style that I think a lot of like actual Christian, if I may editorialize here, actual Christians would be disgusted by the way a lot of American Christians can
Well, yeah.
act,
Mm-hmm.
because it's they set it up right at the beginning of the movie with the wolf in sheep's clothing. Like that seems like an obvious
Yeah,
metaphor,
with
or an obvious
Cooper
comparison to.
floating in space.
Mhm. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I kind of like all the weird like camera and effects,
The
the
movie's
camera
beautiful.
work and effects that they do. Um, there's like the weird little spotlight thing with the kids. Like I don't know. There's a lot of like interesting stuff. I like just experimenting with
The usage
that.
of
It
black
reminded me
and
like.
shadows.
Mhm. I think maybe I thought of this movie because of Nosferatu, like that we
Yeah.
watched recently, because that does a lot of like the same stuff. Because this is going to the German expressionist like 30s and 20s and stuff like that, but it was more recent, so like it wasn't as novel to like reference that. It might maybe felt like a little bit outdated. Whereas when Nosferatu does it, it's like, oh, that's cool. It's a throwback all the way to 100 years ago,
Yeah.
the real beginnings of cinema. Um, so
And
it's like, I don't know, it's cool to go back to this. And then now, like, the difference between those two things is like kind of negligible to us, in 2025. So we just can appreciate this like interesting camera work that's calling back to those movies, like not as like a oh, they're lazy, they're not with the times, but like, oh, cool, they're still doing stuff like this. Even like the set design, like the room that Harry Powell and what's her face Willa, like their bedroom looks like a chapel. Like it looks very like the surrealist, super high pointed ceiling, you
mhm.
know.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
every character like kind of uses their religion to take advantage of the kids basically because the kids are coming to them
mm,
with problems or they're just like,
yeah,
oh no, this guy's a priest, trust him, children should be seen not heard, insolent children, like, and they all
yeah,
have some like kind
mm,
of Bible quote or Christian or like whatever thing that they can pull up to like just discard whatever the kids are saying.
yeah. The old lady, the spoon lady,
Worst
um,
character.
she, yeah, she is. I think the movie is trying to say like she's like just as bad as Harry Powell because she's enabling that behavior and turning a blind eye to any type of like evil because purely based on this like same covenant, based on the idea that like, oh, he's Christian, he can't possibly do anything wrong. Whereas like the people that are considered virtuous in the movie are like, the father, because he stole this money. We're kind of just jumping around in
Yeah,
this whatever,
that's fine.
but but he stole the money, and he says in prison that the reason he wanted to steal the money was to give his kids a good future because he kept seeing all it was during the Great Depression, so he kept seeing like children starving on the side of the road.
Yeah,
um
which we do see a few of them later on.
mm,
Um,
yeah, and it's cool that later with what is it, the
Hooper.
yeah, Hooper, uh she has a whole bunch of orphans, in
Yeah,
her, like that she takes care of, and she's the other like actually virtuous person.
she's the best
And she
character.
also, these are the like these two characters are still Christian, like they still talk and like embody like these values, but they actually embody like, oh, here's this person, he's doing something wrong, like he's committing a sin, but it's trying to offset it with the good of providing for his family, which is like the most pure thing that you could possibly want to do.
Hmm.
And then, oh, here's this person who, you know, like she actually looks out for her community and looks out for these children and listens to them and respects them and tries to understand them instead of just saying shut up, get in line, etc. Like,
Did the
yeah,
dad say that, like, because he mentioned that he robbed a bank? Did he like kill anybody when he robbed the bank?
I think so. It says I think he killed 2 people, which is why
Okay, yeah,
they
that's right.
hanged him.
Because I was like, wait, hang on. The priest, he was in jail with him because he stole a car.
Yeah,
That's what they got him for.
yeah, which I believe is why like he kind of got off pretty easily. Like he was able to get out, like shortly after, probably like a couple months or whatever. I don't know the exact time frame, but the kids are getting insulted by everybody in town because their father was a criminal.
Yeah, the bully
And
song
like,
was pretty disturbing, actually.
yeah, and like, the main kid, John, he, uh, like, it's a thing where you understand that the father, especially if you have it as, a modern perspective, you can see that the father was like just trying to help, but he unfortunately created this like soul crushing guilt and like this weight around his shoulders of this child because you know he
He
has to live with
sees
a
it.
true
Yeah, he
yeah
sees himself as responsible.
yeah and he doesn't think like his father's evil. He just can't tell anybody that he's not evil and that the money, like he has the money, and that like what he was doing for, because the father said promise to not tell anybody. So he's just stuck not being able to tell the truth, tight-lipped, and it's just like crushing because I mean probably even if he did tell the other kids, um they wouldn't understand or know or
Yeah,
get the nuance of the situation. But like, yeah, it's just like very interesting, position that like
and then
this kid is like put into. It's very like the Black Pearl, the Sherlock Holmes
oh
story of
yeah,
like of like this money that exists, like this thing that's like valuable, in this case literally just money, that like twists and corrupts everything
hmm
around it. So, and like being in possession of it at all just like destroys the souls of men.
which I get.
So
I mean, and we never see him like pick it back up after he like has his breakdown at the end when Harry's
yeah.
being arrested. So I mean,
Mm.
presumably like the cops just took it.
Yeah, that's like really, that's like such a good moment because
hmm He's just sick of
like,
it.
yeah, you did, yeah, he's just so sick. Like he doesn't like, sure, he hates this guy for like killing his mom and everything, and chasing them and being a fucking psychopath, but like he just doesn't want any of this like horrible shit to go on. He doesn't want any more lives to be ruined. He doesn't want the responsibility, the weight. He just wants to be a child, that's like
hmm
living free. And that's why I'm like, I think that the movie ending with a scene at Christmas is like, you need that as like a balm for all of the trauma,
Yeah,
the kids go through.
I do think though probably my biggest issue with the way the story kind of plays out is
Mm.
at the end after he's caught and arrested, which I will say is a little bit anticlimactic. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
you,
for sure.
you never see him brought to justice. There's a group of people that are forming a lynch mob, but we never see what
Mm.
happens really. And even if he like
Yeah.
is like hung, that's like not a scene. It's just the movie just doesn't. As soon as he's arrested, it's just done with. I After a whole movie of him like hounding these fucking kids, you really want to see him like get his comeuppance.
Yeah. I think the idea is that like they wanted to protect him and didn't want him to get like lynched. They wanted him to like meet, like they wanted him to go through like the justice system
Yeah.
for what it's worth, to meet his end. So like that's why they snuck him out through the back, to like get around the lynch mob.
Mhm.
And they like the lynch mob, they exist as like this very reactionary dumb
Like
like
Frankenstein.
like yeah, like they're, and it's headed by these people that were completely complicit in
hmm
letting this horror happen and like continue and everything. So it's like it's very interesting that even that, like this like righteous, like we must kill this guy, like kind of the point is to look at the hypocrisy
Yeah.
of that, like these people that like let this all of these red flags, all these bad signs of like emotional and mental abuse and manipulation from this guy towards this woman, like basically forced Willa into this relationship with this fucking guy that just showed up.
Just because he's a priest.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can't handle your children alone. You need a man in the house. I think her first name is Icy.
To what you were. Yeah. Oh yeah. The
Icy Spoon.
The lady. Yeah. So it goes back to what you said about the like it takes a village. Like the children, if the village, in this case the town, was willing to put in the effort to, treat the children with love and respect, they could have persevered just fine with just the mom.
There's no reason why that they would. Yeah.
But because of these like moralistic expectations that don't mean anything, they just are words, like you need a husband. Why you need a husband? It just says that you need a husband, like oh, he's a preacher, whatever. Like these things are meaningless because they don't actually embody what it means. Like he doesn't embody what it means to be a father or a husband.
Not at all.
He's just a fucking freaky guy that shows up in town. Yeah, like we see, he's like a very fascinating character, like right off the bat. Like maybe not the most deep character, but you immediately
you can't take your eyes off him.
Yeah, like he's just like he's talking to himself, like on the open road. You kind of know immediately that there's something wrong with this guy. Well, and I think like anybody with a go ahead.
Well, he brings like a dark presence with him wherever, even like visually. Like there's probably my second favorite shot in the movie, besides the iconic one of Willa in the car, is when they're in the barn and you see him like in the distance on silhouette, like appearing on his horse, and it's like a prophet of doom or something.
Yeah,
I just feel like
probably the scariest scene with him is when the sister has like taken all the money out of the doll, is just like playing around with it, and then brother comes in and is like quickly like getting it all back and like shoving it in there, and then him coming out on the porch and trying to talk to them, and you don't know if he sees it or not, but also as they're coming back you notice that there's a couple dollars that they didn't
okay. I thought so, because I think you see one like I thought because you see something. Could have been a leaf kind of below under the patio porch,
but it's just like, oh man, like you're left in suspense, and it isn't until like this end of the second act or whatever when the sister finally reveals that the money is in the doll, and then at that point you kind of realize like, okay, he didn't see it then, like he didn't put two and two together at that point. He only put it together now that it was in the doll. And like, yeah, go ahead.
On the topic of the sister, it got me curious about like, I wonder what if these kids were ever in anything else.
Right.
So I know I looked it up. John, I think he acted until like 1957 maybe, but this was like his second to last movie. He was more of like a television kid actor. And then this is the only movie that the little sister ever appeared in. She was.
Okay.
I think she was like a singer or something, which because there's a scene where she sings when they're on the boat.
Yeah, because she's not a good actor at all, but she's also like 4 or whatever. Yeah, there's there's a couple scenes where it's like hard to take like super seriously just because of her very flat performance. Like it definitely like still hits.
You still care about. You don't want her to die.
Yeah.
And
like when he's like screaming at her in the kitchen, like that is still like very stressful.
Yeah.
But like when it just cuts to her, when it just cuts to her face and like there's a single tear running down, when it's like, oh well, an actual little girl would be wailing.
Uncontrollably.
Would be like, if you were that loud and like startling or whatever, like. That kind of like the single tear cry is more of a like the boy trying to be tough kind of thing,
but because
So
John is a well set up character, and I think his performance is better. Because we
yes.
care more about
Mm.
that character and his relationship with her, and how protective he is, we still like care about uh,
Yeah.
Pearl. That's her name.
Yeah, I don't like, and in general, like I'm very forgiving of like, especially kids that are that young
Mhm.
being bad at acting. I'm a big fan of Peanuts, the comic strip and all the specials, all the Charlie Brown specials, and all those kids are fucking terrible. Like they're just like, if you like, watch,
Oh, mhm.
it's Halloween time at the time that we're recording. If you watch It's Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, all the voice acting is bad, but there is a charm to it,
Yeah.
especially the very first one, Charlie Brown Christmas. Sally, who is Charlie Brown's sister, her actress was so young she couldn't read, so they had to speak her lines out loud, and then she would copy them to record her lines. And it's like, again,
like the
kind of bad and stilted, but it's very cute.
the
So
shaman in Temple of Doom.
yeah.
Uh,
But
yeah, so I think we're kind of at the last like third of the round. Uh, I do really like the section where it's like the kids kind of boat adventure. Like it's really sad.
yeah.
There's a lot of really great shots. I think it's a split diopter, but it's like the river is in focus. The boat's going through it, and there's also like a critter in the foreground. It happens. There's like four shots, like where there's like a rabbit and a big tortoise, like a frog that are like in the extreme foreground in focus as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
Uh, it's clearly an artificial river, but it's really big in scale and like impressive. Like you can kind of see,
Yeah.
like if you watch the current of the water, it's like a lazy river at a water park.
Yeah, there's some things, especially watching it on a 4K TV
Yeah.
on Tubi, where it's like, yep, that's a crappy rear projection, behind him as
Mhm.
he's driving his car, uh, etc. But like, the same thing, we talked about that with like Wizard of Oz, where it's like, yeah, that's the fucking, matte painting in the background, clear as day.
Yeah.
That's 4 feet away
Yeah,
from
the intersection
the
in the yellow
actors in
brick
front.
road, it's like two steps in one direction and it's just flat.
Yeah, it's like a 90-degree angle upward.
Yeah.
Um, but like, but yeah, but still, like, yeah, you absolutely appreciate especially like for the one and only film a guy made.
Feels like
It's
a
like,
seasoned veteran expert director.
yeah, like that's why I think people now are like, holy shit, look at this fucking movie, because like, yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. So many amazing like shots and scenes and everything like that are like at least interesting, and then there's like, I think this movie just like nails like this sort of state of being, like it has
Mhm.
like such a vibe to it, for lack of a better term.
It's very like
um
gothic, and
yeah.
but it
Yeah,
also
yeah, like
feels like I mean, it
German
feels like
expressionists. Yeah.
it also feels like the Andy Griffith Show though. Like it has like that kind of
Yeah.
like country, like kind of down home feeling too,
Like
because a lot of the
50s,
settings, yeah.
like aw shucks America. Like it has this, like, it's very weird that it was made in the 50s, but it's calling back to the 30s. Uh but it feels like very much like kind of like anti nostalgia, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Like probably like they are kind of looking back on the 30s and being
Oh, that was
like
fucking
yeah, look at
horrible.
the yeah, like, oh, it sucked that like, oh, people had to steal and then their husbands were killed, and then these stupid assholes in town would just like force them to get married to some random fucking Johnny come lately,
Hmm.
and then like that guy turns out to be a serial. This is like every fucking young child who gets a stepdad's like worst nightmare, is that, oh, my stepdad, he's actually an evil guy who wants to kill my mom and steal all our money.
Hmm.
Like that's like,
Or
and I'm sure there was, yeah, go ahead.
I not to I won't go into the specifics of it because it's a really upsetting story. But have you heard the? Are you familiar with the Sylvia Likens case?
I might be.
So
It sounds familiar. It sounds like one of those things.
without going into the graphic details, basically this girl, her parents were traveling carnival workers, and they were going on the road, and they didn't want to take their oldest daughter Sylvia or and her sister Ginny with them on the road, so they leave them at like the mother of just some girls that the kids were friends with at church that they didn't really know. Uh,
Right.
uh,
Uh-huh.
she turned out to be like a complete monster. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
tragic, sad story. There's a few movies made about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
just back in the day, like relating to like, oh yeah, Mrs. Spoon, like yeah, you should marry this guy. He can take care of your kids. Just this complete stranger that you're putting like your children in the care
Mm-hmm.
of.
Yeah. And then when the mom goes missing, like all you need to convince some people that like the mom going missing not to suspect it, it was like, oh, she was a sinner, you know, she went off and did whatever. Even though like her mind was getting fucking like warped and gaslit into becoming like
Yeah,
this weird fucking Christian zealot too, like
it's
throughout the
crazy.
movie. Again, like it's just such a interesting movie that like, you know, even in the 50s they were like looking back at time and being like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. It's fucked up that people use, you know, religion in this way. It's fucked up that like they use it as a mask for their horrible tendencies, for like the darkness within them. That's like I was talking about with the ending. Like I think that's why it's like I think that's what they're going for with him not getting killed by the lynch mob. Um,
Mhm.
is that like that's them being able to be like, let's circumvent like our worst intentions or our worst impulses. These people, they have no justification to be as fired up as they are because, you know, they already made their bed. They already like
Mhm.
let it get this bad through,
Yeah,
you know, just like ignorance and turning a blind eye to like all of this like clear suffering. So it's like
For,
through the grace of, yeah.
sorry, I'm
Go
not
ahead.
trying to cut you off.
Oh, I was just the last thing I was just saying was that like it's through the grace of like the two children that were affected by it, and you know, uh, the uh, the lady who
Mhm.
adopted them, that he's able to survive and like go through the proper channels to get punished rather than just like vigilante justice.
Yeah,
So I think that's also why like John didn't, you know, accuse him or get all in his feelings about him in court. Like he's very like he doesn't care about the aspect of like
he just
punishment.
wanted it over
It's
with.
just about getting it over. Like
Mhm.
just get it, like I wanted this to end.
Yeah.
So
For the record, when I say that I thought the ending was unsatisfactory, I don't mean that I wanted to see him get lynched. Uh,
yeah, no,
I,
I get it.
I
I
think,
understand.
I think,
Because I agree with you. I think that it is very, but it also is like it's the 50s, whatever. Like sometimes movies just kind of like have shitty parts of them because people didn't know how to make movies
yeah.
good in the past.
Like for me, I think the ending
So,
is like kind of obvious. Like at least like what I would do. She's called the cops. Cooper. I want to talk about her too. Um,
mm-hmm.
she's called the cops. The kids are
Yeah, of
all
course.
hiding. There's the gun. He's somewhere on the property, and I don't know. Maybe like they hear a noise and they get chased into the barn, or whatever. And then he has just the two kids
Mm-hmm.
there, and maybe they're up on the barn rafters, and he does something, like, give him like a Disney villain death, where he does something that accidentally kills himself, like he falls off the barn rafters and lands on like a thresher or something. I don't like. Of course, they would never show that, but just like
Yeah.
or have him fall into the river, maybe.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that there should have been like I think that that would have been a more I don't know. I think that they could have still done it something like that while maintaining the general idea, like the hypocrisy of the town and everything. Like they didn't need to completely like. It just felt like kind of out of nowhere, kind of like weird escalation, like right at the end, and then like de-escalation. I like the final scene is great. Like I said, with the Christmas and
I think that was
everything, like
very
it
sweet.
should be, you know, it should be something where it's like they're allowed to be children, and like Cooper being like admiring children's abilities to get through horrible shit like
Yeah.
this, and be able to still like I don't know. There's something really nice about that, something really comforting about that, because everybody's always kind of worried about the children in a very objectifying kind of way,
In a
in the sense
vague
that
concept of them.
imagining a child, yeah, exactly, imagining a child not having their childhood or whatever makes people upset in a kind of objectifying or performative
But they
way.
won't lift a finger.
Whereas, yeah, when there's actually something going on, and then also it neglects the idea that children can bounce back from this tragedy. Like they're not going to just be this tragedy forever.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, even if I wasn't even like a kid at this point, but when my grandma died when I was 14,
Hmm.
it annoyed me how long people spent, asking me how I feel and mourning about it
Yeah.
and everything, because they expected me to just be destroyed or racked with grief when yeah, I was sad about it, and in a lot of ways I'm still grieving over it,
Hmm.
10 years later or 15 years later or whatever. But
You, you get to a point where you
it's
just
also
can't
yeah, so
keep.
some I just
Yeah.
also want to yeah, you can't keep being in that mode.
Hmm.
You can't just you it's not that you don't care, it's just that you got shit to do, you got a life to live. You have to move on, and that's an important superpower that I think children have a lot better than us as adults. The older that we get, the more these things start to weigh down on us.
Hmm.
So
I,
I don't know. I like that. I think that was a good note to end on.
kind of related to that, and back to Cooper, I really like that character. Her
Mm,
performance is she's really well acted, and as
yes.
soon as the kids are talking with her, I'm like, okay, this lady is the one that that's going to take care of him, because you can just tell
Mm,
she's kind-hearted, she is religious like a lot of the other people, but I just got this feeling about her. I'm like, when Harry shows up, she is going to see through him right away, and she's not going to put up with his shit.
mm,
And I was right. But so I had that
yeah.
feeling about her, but she also does have a lot of warmth to her. One of my favorite little moments in this movie is because there's three girls there already when John and Pearl arrive. And one of the girls is named Ruby, and she's
Mm,
older, she's a teenager, she's kind of flirting with boys, and she's been sneaking out to meet them. And there's a moment where she comes home with a magazine, and Cooper's like, how did you get this?" So she has to tell her where she's been. She hasn't been where she
yeah.
said I was going, and she tells her I've been sneaking out of the house to go be with men, and I expected Cooper to be really upset. She's really empathetic about it, and
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's like you're gonna be a great woman someday. I understand why this happened. It was a really sweet, heartfelt moment.
Mm. Yeah, she said you're looking for love in the only, stupid way that you can.
Yeah.
And it's that again, that's an empathetic, yeah, it's kind of maybe a little bit smack you on the wrist, by calling her stupid, but
Yeah.
that's a motherly, that's a thing that a parent should do. You shouldn't be over super protective helicopter parent, snuff down all sexuality on your child, whatever. But you should be concerned
Yeah.
about your daughter being intermingling with weird guys you don't know.
Hmm.
So the fact that she trusts her, though, even if she thinks that what she's doing was foolish, but she still trusts her, that she's deep down, I know why that you wanted it.
Yeah.
Literally exactly the same as the father being he did this thing that was a crime. He murdered people, he stole money, but he did it for a reason
Yeah.
that anybody with a soul could understand.
Hmm.
Of course, obviously this is on a different scale, but it's like that's the empathy. The empathy extends to all these different sinners.
Yeah.
It's an being actually Christ-like, you know? And saying like, hey, your sin that's murdering people, or your sin that's, you know, murdering people to help your family, your sin that's like hitting on boys, you know, and lying to your mom or whatever, they're exactly the same to me in the sense of like, just forget about it. You know, it's fine. You're still a good person deep down. Whereas like Powell, like the first night, like on their wedding night, he immediately like dresses down the mom, calls her like a whore and everything, and like gets angry at her for even trying to have sex with him, because even though he's like, he fully embraces how much of a monstrous freak he is as far as being a murderer, he's still delusional enough to think that, like, you know,
that he's doing Christ's work.
He's a man of God and he doesn't want... So it's just, like, interesting, that cognitive dissonance. You can just see, like, this person who's, like, a delusional poser, just, like, using this religion in order to justify his horrible actions, and then somebody using it to help and heal somebody else that's hurting, you know, like an actual fucking
like
Christian should do. Like obviously, but that's the thing, like there's a very like paternalistic aspect to Christianity that just like kind of goes out the window with a lot of people who just treat their children like objects, you know, and like things to move around in position whatever ways they want. You know, the children only exist to be a part of like this family because you have to have a family, because you have to, for no other reason.
That's just how we do it. But yeah, I think we've covered about everything we have to cover, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, I think the only other thing is just like one more thing about Cooper. I really love the scene where, first of all, the fact that she pulls out a shotgun on him is like awesome, great. And then two, the fact that she stays up all night to protect the kids, like with the shotgun, looking out the window, is great. And then like that scene where he comes and he starts singing like his creepy song, and then she sings like the counter melody to it, and it has like Jesus in it, so that's kind of like another implicit way of being like she actually is embodying him, whereas this guy is just like a monster.
He'd be the devil.
You know,
wolf in sheep's clothing.
Like he is, exactly. He's like he's a deceiver. He's, you know, etc. Doing things for his own personal gain. So yeah, great movie.
I loved it. Yeah,
obviously, like there's probably like a lot of academic stuff talking about this movie that is beyond our pay grade, but I think we did a pretty good job talking about a lot of it symbolically and thematically and everything.
Strongly recommend. I think that French poll that said it was the second greatest movie of all time might be exaggerating a little bit, but
yeah, I thought that was interesting when I saw that, and then I watched it. Like I said, it's in the orbit of some of those old like 40s and whatever classics, but it's not quite up to snuff with them, just because they're, like we said, there's some awkward elements to it. There's some like weird pacing stuff here and there. But yeah, for the most part, it like really holds up. It's like a pretty easy watch. I mean, it's 90 minutes. It's not like a, you know, Gone with the Wind or whatever.
Thank God.
So
I could not handle this movie if
it
was 3 hours long. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, I would have picked a different movie. I would not have picked it. The second I saw it was 90 minutes, I was like, yeah, what the hell? Why not? Yeah. How do you think this compares to the town that dreaded Sundown or whatever the fuck that was called?
I think it would place them kind of similar.
Not good?
I think I'd place them similar.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Yeah, I would say it's definitely above that, but
and because it has
it's
like the
not.
real
It's not
world thing,
like.
it's more interesting, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like that movie has its own problems, but you know,
Well,
what are you gonna do? Cody, what's the next movie that we're gonna be talking about?
well, we are going back to rage-infected London for one of this year's best
Ooh,
movies,
okay.
28 years later.
Ooh, yes, I'm very excited for that because the other two were awesome.
Yeah.
So,
And I think this one might be the
and
best
I
one.
haven't seen this third one yet. I'm, I really hope that that is the case. I hope that it's at least like it doesn't even need the best one. It just needs to be like close to as good
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
like, yeah, the other two are just so good. But yeah,
Well,
how about you?
what are my socials?
Where do we find you on the internet?
All over the place tonight. You can find me on
Yeah.
Twitter. My voice connection has like the Wi-Fi has been flickering a little bit during the call, but all my
hmm
recording has been good. Anyway,
Yeah. That I would say like yeah, it doesn't matter on Audacity. So.
so you can find me on Twitter. My name there is Gay Boomhauer. You can find me on this YouTube channel, Cody J Briscoe. And if you look that name up on IMDb, you can
hmm
find all of the films that I've acted in. Where can
Yep.
we find you,
All
Wyatt?
your awesome, amazing, Spider Baby.
Oh, I should plug
Uh,
something. Shit.
was it?
One of them is
Yeah,
having its
yeah.
live
Go ahead.
premiere tonight, or not tonight, on Halloween. Oh, this is going to be coming out after Halloween.
hmm
Uh, well, it'll be out.
Right.
It'll be out by the time this comes out. It's 1031 Part 4. It's a horror anthology, and I acted in one of the shorts titled "The Witch's Curse."
Oh.
Mhm.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky, Wasp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. Mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but I do post about videos I'm making and podcasts I'm doing. Um, some guy on Twitter called me a loser weirdo for
Mhm.
saying that his information was wrong about a video game. But so if you want to read about that, I guess go on my Twitter and check that out. And if you want to see me talk about cartoons, then there's my channel. It's Only Magic. Also, Cartoon Buffoons, the podcast that's on there. Me and Morgan go through every single freaking Cartoon Network show, even though the terrible garbage ones. Cody, you're gonna be on for a couple of the CN Real shows,
Of
which
course.
we'll just like group into one episode. We're not gonna do separate episodes for fucking Brain Rush and The Outsiders.
Mhm.
But yeah, check that out if you want to donate to the Patreon. That'd be great. $3, you get those episodes a week early. And if you only got $1, that's fine. You can get Wow Cool Robot, which is me and my friend Wayne going through every single robot in existence. They're like 5 to 10 minute episodes. It's a good time.
Mhm.
But all right, that'll do it.
Alrighty.
Join us next time for Horror Hole as we talk about 28 years later. See you there.
Peace out.